Hi, my name is Robert Soto. I'm the Associate Director of Bands at William Howard Taft High School in San Antonio, Texas. I am also a professional tenor and bass trombonist. And I am a Yamaha performing artist on trombone. I've been with Yamaha for several years now, and I've also done some stuff with Music for All. And this is a video resource for all of our young players and musicians out there who, during this unprecedented time, are looking for tools and tips to get better as a trombonist. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you can take a lot of information from it, or hear some things that you've heard in other videos and other master classes, and add to your own resources and share with others. So I hope you enjoy. The first topic I'm going to get into is the right tools. The right tools are needed for us to become better musicians. Without the right tools, we're not off to the right start. And we can't really get better if we don't have essential materials. Some things that we obviously need. First of all, for us, the trombone. Get yourself a good instrument. The best instrument that you can afford, the best instrument that is the right choice for you, to give you the best voice you need for you. Same thing with your mouthpiece. We can talk mouthpieces all day long, but my philosophy is if you find something that you like, that fits what you're doing, that gives you a great sound, gives you range, clear articulation, stick with it. If you're not sure, again, contact teachers, contact professionals, get their recommendations, see what they're playing, and then go from there and create that kind of resource that you need to develop your own library for mouthpieces. Metronomes, tuners, practicing materials, all of those are big time essentials. I have a metronome tuner apps on my phone. When I was in high school, we have to go down to the music store, and metronomes and tuners cost anywhere from $20 to $30 to $100. Nowadays, you can pay $3.99, $1.99 free online metronomes, and those are just as good as the $100 ones. There may be some different options, but for getting the job done at home, I highly recommend those. Cleaning supplies. This is a big one. I'm really big on keeping our instruments working. I keep this slide well lubricated every time I play. I personally like to use Trombone Team. I do have Slido Mix and a few other liquid stuff, and I wipe it down and I apply new stuff at the very ends of my slide every time I practice. Sometimes I do it in multiple times a day because I have multiple practice sessions. Same thing with rotor oil. Apply it to your rotor every couple of days. Keeps it working, keeps it smooth. Same thing with tuning slides. Keep these guys regularly greased with a really good tuning slide grease. Private instruction. This is a must to improve, I would say. We all want to get better at the instrument, and sometimes there's only so much we can do at home. Maybe even in some places, depending on where you are in the country, you're able to get an in-person lesson. Either way, anything works. Get a hold of a private instructor. They can help you with getting to the next level. I already talked a little bit, but just to kind of reemphasize, maintenance makes perfect. Taking care of your instrument. That's a big thing. If you keep this instrument working, this instrument will work for you. Okay, moving on into actually practicing. What are some things that I do? Maybe some things that'll help you. First of all, I like to start with breathing. Some breathing exercises. It is a great way to build up our lung capacity, to strengthen our lung capacity and get our air ready to play these wind instruments. Another thing that people are doing, cardio exercises. Staying active. I know this is a difficult time right now. We're told to stay home, and we're definitely trying to stay healthy right now. The biggest thing we all risk is a lot of inactivity. Walks around the block, running around, jogging, bike riding, all while social distancing. Those are big things that'll help us stay in shape and stay active, especially during these times, and they apply to help our lung capacity get better as we practice. On into our warm-ups. For me, I stick to the fundamentals. I work on this every time I do my practice sessions. Long tones, lip slurs, articulation, range building scales, and arpeggios. I make sure I practice arpeggios, and I help students work on arpeggios. I find a lot of my students work on scales because they work on scales in class. Gotta do your arpeggios. Big thing in helping us understand and deepening our knowledge for music. Another aspect to music that I find important that we should always work on and find time every practice session is sight reading. Whether it's one measure, whether it's four measures, whether it's a line, two lines, an entire etude, an excerpt, a different clef, anything you can get your hands on. Sight reading is a big, big thing. Things like counting rhythms are very, very essential. If there's a counting system that you're very familiar with because of your band program or orchestra program that has taught you, use that counting system to help analyze rhythms and develop a sense of pulse. You can sit, look at a rhythm, count through it, give yourself a tempo from clicking. That helps your knowledge of rhythm and your sense of pulse immensely. There are tons of available websites and free online music resources that have incredible rhythm exercises. There's a great website called Sight Reading Factory that right now is having the free kind of version of what they do, and you can go online and you can study those rhythms and play through the exercises, and I think there's even a mini voice that'll play it for you and you can play along with it. Solos, simple melodies, favorite songs, transcriptions, jazz methods, anything you can get your hands on. Sight read every day. Another thing that I like to get on after I do a little sight reading is now I move into what I call actually practicing. This is the stuff that I'm preparing for an audition or a recital, or I'm working on excerpts for videos. My first tip is practice the things you're not good at. I love the B-flat scale. The B-flat scale is the first scale we all learn. However, spending 20 minutes a day on the B-flat scale, after I already learned it about 20 years ago, that's not necessarily what I would say effective practicing. I already know that. It's not going to help me get better unless maybe I work on it in multiple octaves. If I take a B-flat scale and I want to play it 5 octaves, that would be great. Now that's effective practicing. But why not take the same things that I learned with the B-flat scale and maybe work on my B-flat minor scale, or B-flat melodic minor, or B-flat whole tone, or B-flat chromatic, or go to up a half step to B major. Anything that I am not really familiar with, that's where I want to apply that similar knowledge and go into something new. Focus on smaller chunks and then put it all together. Is that if you're working on a piece of music or an etude for, say, region auditions, and you know this is a whole page worth of music, and you can play all of it, and let's say you're really good at about 80% of it, but there's about 20% of that etude that you're not that great on. Spend the time on that 20%. The 80% will get better and cleaner the more times you work on it. But the more time you spend on that 20% earlier will give you better returns later on down the road. Quality repetitions and not mindless run-throughs. If one of the things we get tied up is playing the same thing every day, no matter what it is. If we're playing for a recital, if we're playing for an audition, you're going to have a list of things you have to play. For all state bands, there's usually 3 etudes, and they come out in August in most states, or in some states they come out in July. Man, the audition isn't until December. So you have August, September, October, November, December. You got 5 months to learn this piece. So after you've learned it, how do you keep it fresh? Well, every time you run through it, you want a quality repetition. You want to make sure you're playing with a great sound, great musicality, dynamics. You want to make sure you get the most out of your reps. Don't just run it for the sake of running it. That'll save you time. Musicality, that's a big one. Every time you do a quality repetition, making sure you're playing dynamics, make sure you're showing us contrast, style, work on your phrasing, making sure that those articulations are clear, whether it's legato, whether it's slurred, tenuto. All of these are the little things that take a okay performance to good and to great levels. Attention to those details. Very, very important. Record yourself. Audio and video. We have so many resources, and I would say about 80% of things are now video recordings. And now with all these wonderful apps, you can totally record all kinds of things and post them, and a lot of people do post their recordings. There's also, I know Facebook has the 100-day practice challenge, and you can make short 30-second videos of you practicing. These are great tools. When you record, it gives you a chance to hear what you really sound like. Don't forget to perform for people. Right now, being quarantined, if you got a recording device, if you got Zoom, if you got FaceTime, you can create those little mini performances. Play for your parents at home, or distant relatives, or friends online. Put a little online chat room and then play for each other. Well, no matter what it is, 30 seconds of music, minute, couple minutes. Those are things that'll help get you to be a better musician. Last thing I got for you is research and educate. We have the time right now to be at home, and when we're not practicing, well, how's another way of developing ourselves to be a great player? I would say find out who the who's who are the major players on our instrument, whether it's a jazz, whether it's classical. For me, I grew up playing a lot of salsa music, salsa trombonists, Latin trombonists. Symphony orchestras, what are the famous orchestras? What are the great orchestras in our country? Great wind bands. Who are these great trombone teachers that are teaching in the universities? Look up their names. Look them up online. See what kind of video performances they have out there. Study those. Listen to them. Find out pieces. Learn the repertoire for solos, for jazz standards. This is a great time to develop our library in here, so we can have repertoire that we want to play down the line. Listen to videos, listen to MP3s, virtual concerts. Right now, a lot of orchestras are on the sidelines because of the quarantine, staying at home. But we can support them by going online and purchasing maybe virtual concerts, or supporting them any way we could. Contact their players. Maybe their players are teaching online on an online seminar. We can go to those things. We have great resources right now that normally, under any other circumstances, would we have to pay for travel, pay for tickets, pay for a lot of other things, but a lot of organizations are giving great deals right now that we can take advantage. Read books. We love to read. We read articles, we read all kinds, we read statuses, we do a lot of stuff, but reading books is a big thing. Right now, you can strengthen your vocabulary and your knowledge by reading great literature on music composers, on trombonists, on famous brass players. If you need help, I'm more than happy to just give me an email, and I'll shoot me an email and I'll send you some recommendations. Online seminars, podcasts, live interviews, those are big right now. Everybody's teaching online. Everybody's doing online Zoom interviews and sessions. Go check them out. They're free in some cases. This is a big resource that normally you'd have to either pay or go travel to get to great players. Great players are making themselves available to everybody right now. And lastly, share everything with your family. And also take time for yourself. If you're on a summer break right now between your school year, this is the time to be at home with your family and enjoy some time. Don't forget, we practice, we develop ourselves musically, but also be with your family and get some mental rest. And we'll get through this together. I hope you enjoyed this presentation. I'm going to get back to my family and do some practicing today, and I hope you guys enjoy. Take care.